chapter number 6, 5 or 6. Heading right on employment law. Employment law. Subheading right on what is employee. As per the law, the definition of employee. What is employee? As per the legal terms, what is employee? So actually, if you look at two different concepts, we need to understand. One is self-employment and employment. Why we need to differentiate these two clearly? Why? Because some people we say like they are doing self-employment job. Some people they are doing employment. Right, so employees and self-employees. My question, why we should divide employee and self-employee category? What is the reason? Why the division is important? Why law should define what is employee and what is self-employee? What is the reason? Why we should define? No idea. There are a lot of reasons. Reason number one, tax purpose. If you are an employee, the income that you are taking is employment income. That is tax in a different way. If you are a self-employee, that is we call trading income. That is tax in a separate way. So, for one purpose is tax purpose, we need to differentiate employee and self-employee properly. Is it clear? Second reason, accounting purpose. For example, when we are preparing financial statements, right, for employees, some standards specifically applied like IAS 19, employment benefits, gratuity, right, all these things comes up for only employee, not for self-employed. For accounting purpose, yes, how are we going to treat this in the financial statement? Again, we need to identify this classification. Third reason, HR reason, human resource reason. Employee, we are maintaining employee contract, employee files, employee benefits, overtime and all those things because they are our employees. The responsibility belongs to employee, EPF, ETF. You know EPF, ETF? Provident fund and all. Right. So all these things are applicable to employees only. But self-employees, these things are not applicable. For those reasons, we need to clearly identify whether these people are employee or self-employed. Right. For example, let's take Jerin, employee or self-employed. How you said he is employee? He's working for you. Then Farin, employee or self-employed? Employee. For you. No. You can't decide whether the person is employee or self-employed by look at their presence at the place. You got my point what I'm saying? I'm teaching for you. That is correct only. But I'm not an employee for you. My salary is not like monthly based. And RU is not giving schedule for me. I only decide the schedule according to my will. You got my point what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to tell you is, it's very important to identify who is employee, who is self-employed. First we'll look at who is employee, what is employee. Then we'll see how to decide in the legal perspective. Okay, so write it down. Employees are known as an individual who work for contract of service. Who work for contract of service. Underline the word contract of service. But independent contractor, instead of self-employee, we call independent contractor. Okay? An independent contractor work for contract for service. For contract for service. Underline the word contract for service. So if I take myself, I am working contract for service. I am responsible for the law paper now. So it's my duty to finish law paper and I should do questions. So I should work for the timetable which I shared with Arivu. That's all. You got my point. If apart from that, if any issues arise, I am not responsible. Because I came here to teach a subject, I gave a work schedule and I covered all those things, then fine, that's all. So this is what called contract for service. But Jerin, he worked for contract of service. He have a job description given by HR department of Arivu. He's getting monthly salary. He can't work like I'm working, right? So I'm starting my work at 8 or 8:15 more probably, right? But when I finish by 12 o'clock, after 12 o'clock I stay here, I'll go to flat 10, I'll nicely sleep. Can Jerin can do that? When his work start? 7 o'clock. At what time his job finished? 4 o'clock. So 7 to 4 he should be here. Is it clear? So that is his work. That is we call contract of service, which means the terms and conditions, everything is clearly defined. They don't have independence to decide their terms. That is the difference between contract of service and contract for service. Is it clear? Next point, write down. This difference is mandatory. This difference is mandatory because the treatment of tax, comma, health safety regulations, health and safety regulations, comma, vicarious liability. Can you remember vicarious liability? Vicarious liability related decisions can be made. Related decisions can be made. So the decisions are based on what? Whether it's a self-employee or independent contractor or employee. Vicarious liability exists if he is an employee. So therefore that differentiation is matter. That differentiation is matter. Is it clear? Right. Now, next point, write down. The following tests are performed. The following tests are performed. The following tests are performed. To determine employee or independent contractor. Employee or independent contractor. Number 1, control test. Number 2, integration test. Number 3, economic reality test. Control test. Number 2, integration test. Number 3, economic reality test. Okay, subheading write down control test. Normally students, control means job description, the nature of the job. Who control the entire scope of the work. Right. When it comes to employee, majority of the work is controlled by the employer. For example, working time. Right. And maybe a salary, and also other benefits, and also type of work, whether leave is granted or not. That is also main problem. If you won't leave, that's a problem, right? But independent contractor, why I said like being an independent contractor, like consultant, right, is very risky. Job security is very low, but you can earn more, and it is peaceful for your life. So if you are really good if you are very competent, I suggest you to be an independent contractor. Don't be an employee, because employee means your skills are locked with one place, one territory, right? But when you are taking these independent contractors, right, the competency level is very high, means you can earn a lot. You can easily succeed within the short period of time, but the risk is very high. If I take myself, right, when I'm starting, I was joined with the state university in Sri Lanka, right, as a lecturer. Okay, because it's very difficult to being a lecturer there. It's very, very difficult, because very competitive, by the way, right? So in the university, you should perform very well, extraordinarily, then only you can able to get that, right? But the salary is very low, somewhere around 40,000, 45,000 INR, right? So initially, like for 1 or 2 months I worked, but I decided no. Then what I did was I become part-time there. Part-time means once I done with masters, right, I am not going to teach for graduates. So I'll do lectures for postgraduate programs, MBAs and all. That could be done in the weekends only, Saturdays and Sundays. For that, the payment is very high. Per hour, somewhere around 2,000 INR. The payment is good, Sri Lanka itself. So I decided to move. Then I lose my job, right? For 5 days, I don't have any work. Right. But what I did was, I become a consultant for all over the institutes in the South Asian region. So if I take 1 year, I put a plan. Okay, these days in Sri Lanka, these days in India, these days in Bangladesh, these days in Maldives, right? Likewise, the entire 1 year is scheduled. I diversified myself. Why? My diversification is not qualification wise. It is a diversification of what? Geographical diversification. Because my risk is very high, right? So I diversified my risk by diversifying the geographical location. If Arivu said, don't come and work with us, thank you very much, I will work with Rajagiri. If Rajagiri said, don't come and work with us, thank you very much, I will work with Christ. If Christ says, don't come and work with, I will work with Zell. Because I diversified here, right? If Arivu said, don't come, I may not working at Chennai, but I might work at Kerala. I might work at Mumbai. If India is not allowing me to come, that visa is not given. No, you are too much of traveling to India. Hereafter, we are not giving visa. Thank you very much. No problem. I'll work in Maldives. You got what I'm saying? Because there is a huge risk. The risk should be diversified. That is the nature of independent contractors. Who have the control now? I have control. Right. Actually, your law paper should start in the month of April. This paper should start in the month of April. Right. Why we started in May? Not summer, April, I did audit paper. So I don't have any lecturers, right, for this paper. We have, that person is also busy. Okay. And there are 3 lecturers follow. All 3 lecturers are not available. Then after audit, I finished audit by April itself. After completing audit, immediately they asked to start low. Then the problem is my sister's wedding. I need a break. Sister's wedding, I need a break. I said, no, I can't. Then we find alternatives, nothing work out. Then I said, the only possibility is I can start end of May only. Then say, no problem, we'll start. Now tell, who is having control here? Both parties, but majority comes to my side. That's the nature of independent contractors. Right? If I am an employee at Arriva, can I tell like that my sister's wedding, I need 1 month break, I need to do all my work? Come here, do the work. Only 2 days off. We won't give. That is also based on the annual leave. If you didn't take any leaves, then we will give 2 days. You got my point what I'm saying? So when you are an employee, that control goes to the employer. But when it comes to independent contractor, that control comes to you. That is the biggest advantage that you have. That is the biggest advantage that you have. You got my point? Right. Like if I take... okay. And also if I take another example, like see, now my first kid, right, the school admission next year, 2025, right. So from July onwards, there are different interviews we parents need to attend. Different interviews we parents need to attend, right. So I decided now itself, in the month of June, no lectures. In the month of July, no lectures. In the month of August, only 2 weeks, that is in Kerala. And in the month of September, no lectures. Which means I prioritize in Sri Lanka only. Why? I planned accordingly. Because it is not nice. No, for India, it's okay, fine. I can put a ticket and go. One ticket cost is 15 to 16,000 immaterial, no problem. Maldives, if I go to Vietnam, out. Ticket price is very high. Fine. So it is not fair to ask them to put a ticket for an emergency travel. Right. Here, no problem. Like you all are going home, right? Monday to Friday here, Saturday, Sunday, Sri Lanka, no problem. But what I am trying to tell you is, I should plan accordingly. Because who have the control? I have the control. You got my point. That's why I didn't put any schedules during these months, because I have some other work. This independent contractors we have. That's why I tell you, if you are really good if you are really competent, choose independent contractor. Don't work for 8 hours. You got my point. But the risk is very high. If you are working as an employee, 60 years you should work to retire. But if you are working as independent contractor, 30 years is enough. 35 to 40 years is enough to get retired. Because the returns are good, but the risk is also very high. Simple theory, high risk is high return. So control test, see who control the nature of the job. Who control the nature of the job. Is it clear? The materials which shared to you, who prepared? Are you? The question shared with you, who prepared? Are you? The mock papers upload to your app, who prepared? Are you? No, everything comes from the lecture. All the lecturers have more influential situation in this organization. Because organization is based on lecturers. Even CA lecturers also say. You got my point? So always they prioritize lecturers' requirements. So that's the control test here. You got my point what I said. Fine. So now we can apply, court will apply this test, control test. Who control the situation, the nature of the job. Right. If you move to higher level, operational level, 100% control from the company. Right, operational level.